Hey everybody, welcome to Dad, Daughters, and Drinks, where you'll always get at least two of those three. Today I'm reacting to a song by Tool called 10,000 Days, Wings Part 2. So this was recommended to me by my friend Dan, uh, who said, part one's good, but part two to him was way better. I did listen to part one and I really, really enjoyed it. Like, I really enjoyed it. And then I went and I actually kind of researched the whole song a little bit. So I kind of understand, what's going on in the behind the lyrics. So I'm going to go ahead and listen to part two finally. It's been a little while since he's requested it. I don't know if the music and everything else is going to be the same as the first one or if it's going to be completely different. I'm not sure. Um, I do have the lyrics pulled up. I'll be reading them as we go along. I did see it's just an audio video, so it'll be perfectly fine for me to read the lyrics while it's going. I won't be missing anything. So let me get my readers on because I'm old, and let me go ahead and get started. Headphones also, because this is definitely the kind of a tune, at least the first one was, that like you really needed headphones on to appreciate. And I know a lot of Tool music's like that, so I'm assuming that's going to be critical to have my good headphones on. All right, let's get started. Long song, 11 and a half minutes almost. All right, this is the same, if not similar. Boy, it's going to be very difficult for me not to intellectualize the way I'm thinking about this song, right? Because I know the point of view that he's coming at it uh, isn't necessarily one of extreme religious understanding. I guess I'll just say it that way, right? His mother was very, very devout, and to his view, like more so than everybody else, right? Everybody else is just pretending. She was the real deal, pretty much as far as he's concerned, the only real deal. Uh, and so and that's why you'll see words like people romanticizing certain things. Usually I think he's speaking kind of in a religious way. He even says rising to the heights of our halo, right? So you need to achieve a certain amount of goodness to earn the halo, to become an angel. And then he talks about people rationalizing why they think they should earn that kind of thing, feigning trials and tribulations. Oh, woe is me, uh, making yourself seem like you've had a hard life so that you therefore think you have earned your place in heaven. Uh, it's kind of a common misunderstanding that you earn your place or that you have to go through trials and tribulations to get into heaven, kind of thing. But like I said, I'm going to try and not think of it from a religious standpoint, but from just appreciating the music and thinking about it from his point of view, which is like his mother was the real deal and that was it. Right. love this storm accent to go along with kind of the mood of the music. This, you know, Tool is always so bass heavy. It's in a fantastic way. But this line that they've got going here kind of reminds me of One of These Days from Pink Floyd on Echoes. The collective Judas. There's a little shift here, but it's interesting. This little light of mine. It's a real common, kind of children's song for Christianity. Even if you're not, maybe this is something that was more familiar when I was younger. It seemed like everybody knew the song, whether or not you were a religious person. I don't know if that's really the case anymore, but it's interesting that that's what he's referring to. Is kind of saying, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Really, what that's referring to is the love of Jesus in your heart, and you can show people the way to be saved. And he's kind of turning that around and saying, because of what you've done for me, I'm going to do, I'm going to use it to shine you on your way home. I'm going to back up just a little bit. Whether or not he believes, I think he's still very appreciative of what she did. I guess I'd say it like that. I mean, you can really hear the bass just getting hit so much harder as the lyrics get more intense as well. I mean, he really is like equating his mom to really like a Jesus figure to him, right? I mean, Jesus said, "I am the light, the truth, and the way." I may have got that in the wrong order, right? And so he's now saying that about her, which is really kind of interesting. The transitions from part to part here they're kind of subtle, but they're still like almost like punch you in the face and subtle at the same time, if that makes sense. Because the whole thing's so intense that the smallest shifts in the music still hit hard. This has almost hit kind of like a stranglehold feel all of a sudden. I think I remember reading it's been a few weeks, if not a couple months since I read about it, that this was not performed in concert very much. I think for a couple of reasons. One is it's even though at the moment, from what I've heard so far, I'm only about halfway through. It's a very complicated song to do, even though from what I've heard so far, like no individual part necessarily sounds super difficult. Let's say there's so many things going on, so many transitions, so many small bits of all these different parts flowing together that I guess it was very difficult to do live. Um, and at the same time, I think it was a very obviously personal song. And I think a lot of the crowd were crying out for them to play other things or something that they wanted to hear. And that was, I assume kind of discouraging for something that's this emotional. So I don't think this was actually performed very much, but uh, I just wanted to, it's so intense. I'll take a break when I can. And it sounded like it was going to move into another section because it almost sounded a little strangleholdish. I hear so many things like in my head in terms of like what it makes. So like I mentioned, one of these days before, and now it's almost moved into like a saucer full of secrets with a stranglehold guitar lead over the top of it. It's very fascinating. Now it's kind of reminding me a little bit of Echoes. There's one part where they get a little funky in there. That's a really fascinating line. I've noticed that I think a lot of these lyrics are the same as in the first one. It might be that they're almost identical, if not identical, or at least very close. The first part of it was especially. It's been a little while, so I only listened to it once, so I don't remember perfectly. Uh, with a lot more, I didn't remember there weren't like these long instrumental breaks in the first one. The this part about the burden of proof tossed upon non-believers is a really interesting line because that's ultimately when people, let's say, I'll say choose not to convert. You just don't believe. That's fine. Um, a lot of it's because I need proof for something that, by definition, is really unprovable. Um, I mean, people could come up with use cases to say, well, if I say, God, if you're real, then make this happen, and all of a sudden it instantly happens. You could say that that's proof, but other people would still say, oh, whatever happened was just coincidence, or you could talk about various violations of laws of physics, whatever. But when people don't want to believe, they're not going to believe, and that's fine. Um, but it is interesting that he mentions it as a burden of proof tossed upon non-believers, uh, because that really does succinctly describe kind of the relationship between believers and non-believers. There's no like need to prove why God isn't real. I got to go back and hit this again because this I love the music, and like I said, I try not to intellectualize it too much, but it's a fascinating set of lyrics. I mean, this part here about "you are my witness, my eyes, my evidence," unconditional one, Judith Marie. Like this really goes to show that it's not by words but by deeds. Let's say the way people live their life is really what tends to be the most convincing to other people about actually, converting, we'll say, or believing in God or whatever you want to call it. Um, but the thing that's interesting is the more skeptical you are, I think, the less, like, the more close that person needs to be. I guess I would say it that way. Like, if you're a super skeptical person, then almost nobody, no matter how they're going to live their life is going to make a difference to you. But if it's somebody who you are very close with and who like really is an inspiration to you, and clearly he thinks the world of his mother, um, that's going to be one of the few people. Nobody's going to intellectualize, the existence of God for him, and whether or not his mom ultimately got him there or not, I'm not sure. But nobody's going to intellectualize it for him. It would have to be something about somebody living their life in a certain way as an example that is an impactful person to him that would really need to happen. And so it sounds like if it didn't work, he's at least acknowledging like she's the one who really had the impact on him at some level. That's a cool transition. So much going on. Mm. Wow. That's like one of the fastest 11 minutes I think I ever heard. Wow. So good. So good. Yeah, and again, I'm not sure where he ended up on the whole, religion thing. Uh, the ending would seem to indicate that there was an impact at some level, right? Uh, in the words of his mom talking to God, I never took a life, but surely saved one. Now, I don't know if the saving that he's referring to is in a religious context that I'm going to go to heaven when I die, or if it's more of a saving in a, yeah, got him to not live his current life in a bad way through some sort of an example. Um, so yeah, I don't know where that ended up, but what a like both dark and beautiful tribute to his mom. Um, I mean, clearly, I think the lyrics are somewhat different because I seem to remember him referring to her more as an angel directly in the first one, whereas in this one it's a little more implied. So I don't think they're identical lyrics, but I think there were some parts that were similar. Um, but just fascinating, like the the way the music is structured. It's so droning and so kind of you know uh, just gives a certain presence that's really kind of overwhelming. I'd love to just sit in a dark room. I might do that after this and just listen to it without any lights, without anything, and just really kind of envelop myself in it. Because boy, just fascinating. So yeah, good stuff, Dan. Thanks for that one. Um, keep these ones coming. Good stuff. I can't. Shoosh. I'm trying to think of other people who I could recommend this to, but I think most people this would go over their heads a little bit. Um, but yeah, really good stuff. Anyway, I'm just sitting here saying good stuff. So I'm gonna shut her down. Thanks everybody for watching. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. And we will see you guys all again on the next one. Catch you later.